Hey y'all, this is Michael, and I am doing another episode of my Episcopal Journal. I have actually joined an Episcopal church. I am an official member, and I've been trying to get into the habit of doing a Bible study every day in the mornings. And I've been using the Episcopal Church's daily office and doing the morning readings. Eventually, I hope to get to the point where I'm doing all the readings for the day, but good habits start slow, right? But I was reading the Daily Office some days ago, and there was a focus on chapter 32 of Exodus, and it got me thinking about human nature and how we sometimes interact with God, especially if we're not solid in our faith. Chapter 32 is where Moses goes up to the mountain to commune with God. And while he's gone for quite a while, the people down below in the valley get a little anxious. They wonder what's happened to Moses and if he's ever coming back, and they haven't heard from God, so they decide to make the golden calf. So they give Aaron all their gold jewelry, and he melts it down and he forms the golden calf that they start worshiping. And of course, this doesn't go over well with God or Moses. But I got to thinking, so many times we pray. We pray for whether it's for ourselves or for somebody else, and we look for the answer to the prayer. And sometimes it doesn't come as fast as we expect, or as fast as we would like. And we get impatient and we try to, I guess you say, help God. And it's kind of what the Israelites were doing here. They were waiting for some kind of answer from God through Moses, and they got impatient, so they created the golden calf and said, we're going to worship this golden calf instead, because apparently we've been deserted by God. But God's time is not our time. God's timing is completely different than ours, and we may have to wait a while before we hear from God on a certain prayer. And it doesn't mean that God's deserted us. It doesn't mean that God's turned away. It just means that there is a time for everything, like it says in Ecclesiastes. And we need to learn to be patient and wait for God. And I know when I was very weak in faith at one point, and I didn't feel like God was answering me, I did my own golden calf thing. I started looking for other belief systems, other paths to the metaphysical. I went everywhere. I went through New Age, Science of Mind. I went through all kinds of stuff. But I always got led right back to the Christian doctrine and God. And God was always there. Eventually, in His time, He would always answer prayers. And sometimes the answer is no. But God doesn't leave you hanging when the answer is no. God, if He says no to what you're praying about, there's another door that's going to open. Something even better. Something that not only helps you, helps me, but something that brings glory to His name. And I just thought this whole scenario with the golden calf was a great example of how we can get impatient and start seeking our own way, our own path, our own answers, our own solutions. And there's a part of it that makes me kind of chuckle too, and that's when Aaron forms the golden calf. It says right in here that he melted down the gold and he formed the golden calf. But when he's confronted by Moses, and Moses says, "Why'd you do this thing?" Aaron responds that he threw all the gold in the fire and out came the calf all by itself. And I think we do that a lot ourselves too when waiting for God. We try to help. We try to find a solution that helps God solve our problem. And then when it all goes pear-shaped, we kind of throw up our hands and say, I did my best, but this is what happened. And it's just human nature. It's human nature. But we need to walk strongly in our faith. We need to believe God. We need to wait on God and His perfect timing. And the answers will come. They will come. And we will usually be surprised by the answer. Delighted in some cases, surprised in other cases. But we just have to have that faith that stands firm. And we need to push away doubts when things aren't happening fast enough. And we need to not try to take the situation into our own hands. Once we give it to God to solve, leave it with God to solve. Don't make your own golden calf and start worshiping that like it's going to work. So those are my thoughts so far from my morning Bible studies. And I just want to continue to talk to y'all and talk about what God's doing in my life and just how great God is. God is wonderful. God is just incredible. And I'm going to keep sharing. I'm just going to keep sharing and hope that somebody needs to hear what God's given me to say. And that's it for this episode. Remember, when you pray to God, stand firm. Don't balk. Don't doubt. Just stay with it. And God will help you with your problems. God will help you with every situation. And I have enough evidence of that in my life. I have seen God's hand in my life even when I was not in a place where I could feel strong in acknowledging God. He still worked in my life because God doesn't let us go. We may wander away, we may stray, but God never lets us go. And when we turn back to Him, He's right there because He hasn't left us. And as far as we may have thought we walked away from God, God's right there. He's right with us because we have proclaimed our faith in Him. So ponder this, see if it has any use for you, and I enjoyed making these videos, and I will keep on making them, and just talking about God and how wonderful God is. That's it for now. Talk to you again soon. Bye.